Here with us now to discuss the impact of this is the founder and executive director of the National Security Institute, Jamil Jaffer. Thank you so much for being with me, sir. Appreciate it. Tensions rising in Yemen after these attacks. Do you believe the region is at risk for a major conflict like the UN is warning? Could we see this war actually expand?
Well, certainly there's a possibility that the war could expand. Iran obviously has been a problem in the region for decades. Ever since the Islamic Revolution, where Ayatollah Khomeini came to power, they've been fomenting terror with Hezbollah, Hamas, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, and now the Houthi rebels in Yemen. And so this has been a problem for a long time. Their efforts to obtain a nuclear weapon and the like are problematic. And so it's no surprise that you see our allies, particularly at a time when it's not clear whether we're going to be there for our allies, joining together in other coalitions to try and protect themselves against the very real threat that Iran poses.
The U.S. is still working on trying to make a deal to get the Strait of Hormuz open. Earlier today, I spoke with retired top Navy Commander Rich Kolko, who says a deal by itself is not enough to resolve what's happening there. Listen to what he said.
Making sure rogue elements of the Republican Guard aren't doing any attacks. But the shipping companies, the insurance to go through the Strait of Hormuz right now is exorbitant. And they're unwilling to send their ships and their crews and their cargo through the strait, regardless of any agreement that's signed, because rogue elements of the Iranians could still be attacking the ships. Remember how easy it is to do there. A missile, artillery, a drone. So I don't believe Iran has complete control of their forces.
Do you agree with that? Is the conflict escalating to a point where there's more security concerns to consider in addition to the deal with Iran?
Well, I think Commander Kolko is right that there are threats to shipping in the region, that insurance rates are high as a result. But that's not because of rogue elements of the Iranian forces. It's because the Iranian regime wants to threaten shipping through that region. It's their view that they get a better deal out of the United States the more they threaten shipping, and that they can condition any deal with us on them getting control of the strait and exacting fees out of the strait. And the problem is the president's allowed that to happen. He needs to establish that the U.S. will not accept any limitations on the free flow of oil through the Strait of Hormuz, like President Reagan didn't back in the 80s. And he should dare the Iranians to attack American warships going through and then fire back, aggressively. It doesn't matter that we're low on weapons. The reality is that we can beat the Iranians if we want to. The challenge, of course, right now is that the Iranians think they have us over the barrel and they can condition a deal on what we do. So it's not about rogue elements. It's about the regime itself, which we have just not been strong enough against. And we need to push back on. The president needs to stop looking for a deal and establish with the Iranians that he is the big dog in this fight, that America is the real power, and that they don't have leverage.
So we've now got Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, and Turkey who have announced this pact, committed to respond if one of the other countries comes under attack. Why do you think this deal was made? Is the timing significant? And are there fears behind the scenes from some of these countries that the U.S. can't protect them anymore?
No, that's exactly it. The view right now, I think, of our allies, both in Europe, in the Indo-Pacific, and in the Middle East, is the U.S. is an itinerant ally. We're there when we want to be. We get aggressive against Iran. By the way, the president has done something unprecedented. He's gone after Iran in a very direct way, as we should have a long time ago. But the problem is you got to have the stomach for the fight. You got to be willing to stay in it. And our allies see us as unwilling to stay in the fight. The president keeps saying he wants to do a deal. He's going to stop. He stops strikes, short of really going after Iran aggressively. And that makes our allies think we're not going to be there for them. So it's no surprise when you see Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, and Turkey coming together. By the way, that's a very problematic alliance for us because we've got friends on all sides of that. And yet they think they need to do this without us, which suggests that that's a real problem for our role in the region.
You mentioned it. There's this report in the Washington Post where they're saying that President Trump blew up at Secretary of War Pete Hegseth over a weapons shortage due to the war. And Trump is now dismissing any of the claims that the U.S. is running low, although you would expect him. I mean, he's not going to say that they're running low. That wouldn't sort of be the smart thing to do publicly. But if we are in a shortage, should there be a concern for a national security risk? I mean, is this something we should be concerned about?
Absolutely. A shortage of weapons is problematic, not just in the region in the Middle East, but it's problematic for any sort of conflict that China might try to stoke with Taiwan in the Indo-Pacific. It's problematic for what's happening in Europe with Russia. But here's the thing. The U.S. has massive industrial capacity. If we chose to get those weapons back rapidly, we could do that. We demonstrated it, frankly, in the first Trump administration with Operation Warp Speed, when we were able to develop a vaccine for COVID very rapidly. If the president wanted to tomorrow, he could order the Secretary of Defense to staff up weapons production and direct weapons producers to produce rapidly. The question is, why aren't we doing that? We've known we've been running short on supplies for a long time. Let's do it now. The president can turn that around tomorrow. He needs to have the willpower to, A, push back on the Iranians, tell them there's a lot of heat coming if they don't stop acting right. And by the way, then he has to actually deliver it and not back off as he has repeatedly. And then he's got to build out weapons capacity at home. We can do all these things. We've demonstrated it over and over again. The problem is the president just isn't there. It's one thing to blow up a Secretary headset. It's another thing to take responsibility and do it yourself.
Yeah, and maybe that would send a strong message to Iran, too, if they started, building the weapons faster. Jamil Jaffer, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it, sir.
Thanks so much.
All right.